for those listening, thank you for tuning in. This is The Right Perspective. It's our episode 1. It's our pilot episode. Today we'll be going over Thomas Sowell, The Vision of the Anointed. That's his book we're going over. And then some other things like our election predictions, just some interesting news stories, and whatever else we find interesting. My name is Cooper, and
I'm Benjamin Davis. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, it's kind of a conversation. We want to start out with kind of like, who are we, and then what is this podcast about specifically? Why are we doing it? I guess we already introduced myself. I'm Cooper. It's Ben, and this podcast was really we had an idea together to. There's a lot of news shows around and things that people that provide mid to low quality content, and we were interested in just kind of providing more of a conversation, like something that actually delves into some deeper ideas and practical ways to implement actual traditional or conservative ideas into our lives, and just talking about how that works and taking Q&A and questions from you guys.
Yeah, we're both Zoomers on either side of the age spectrum, and we're both conservatives, both traditionalists, and we wanted to bring some of that to you, some of that hashing out of ideas. We agree on a lot, but we don't agree on everything. So maybe we can help you cement why you believe what you believe.
Yeah, and there's a there's a ton of room for movement or a difference in views, like especially in religion. Me and Ben, we don't agree on absolutely everything, but enough to know that
both believe each other are brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't have to not talk to each other because we believe different things about baptism or instruments in worship, just for certain examples. So I guess let's get started off with our main topic of the day, which is Thomas Sowell's book, The Vision of the Anointed. Is subtitle is Self-Congratulation is the Basis for Social Policy. Ben, what do you think about this book as you read it?
Well, my main takeaway, if I had to summarize it, like I told you before, it's like you combined Michael Knowles' Speechless book, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds, and you combine that with Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. It's so much about how the anointed, I kind of think of them as the woke elite. That's not a perfect analogy, but like, how are the people trying to push this big narrative on us? How are they lying to us? Through what avenues, what tactics are they using, and what can we do to see through it?
Absolutely, I think I agree. Especially the issues they went over. This book was written close to 1995? Yeah, it was 1995. And as I was going through it, I was thinking, this fits every single political issue the left has pushed in the last 10 years. Whereas in this book, he goes over sexual education in schools. I think there were some other ones like crime reform, prison reform, things like that, which caused huge issues and ones we're still seeing the effects of today. I see the same method he laid out in the books applied to part of the abortion arguments that the left makes.
Yeah,
specifically the Green Movement. And not the Green Movement, like the climate change, radical. If we don't change everything, everyone's going to die. That kind of movement there.
Yeah, and one of the ways they do it in the abortion argument, I was just listening to his chapter on preemptive speech. This is part of it that's really like Michael Knowles' book, where it's like, okay, we'll use these words like choice. Don't you care about people? Don't you want to progress? That was a long time ago. All these ways that they try to substitute these preemptive words for an argument. So instead of making an argument for why their idea is the best for moving forward, for doing things better, instead they just use, we care about people.
It's this super ambiguous language, like you said, choice. Another example would be the way they invalidate your argument by the words they use. So in the Vision of the Anointed, there are two kind of parties, not specifically parties, but two different sects of people Thomas Sowell goes through: the anointed and then the benighted. The anointed are what we would call the left, the people who are in the upper echelons of society. They're well learned, supposedly.
Well schooled.
Well schooled. Yeah, they have all the credentials. They're the experts per se. And then the benighted is everyone else who, in opposition to the anointed's grand plans for societal changes, say, hey, maybe we shouldn't do that. That doesn't sound like a good idea. It's not that huge of an issue. The anointed will say, oh, you're just... Thomas Sowell specifically, he was saying that they say that, well, your arguments, people have said that in the past, and it didn't work. It's like, oh, okay, but it's still a valid argument, whether it was brought up in the past or not. And additionally, they go from, well, you're just going from an emotional argument. And we see this the way Obama in 2008, I think it was 2008, don't quote me on that. He said that, we were bitter clingers to our Bibles and guns. That, like, we were holding back from the future because we just don't like change. And then that evolved from, deplorables to Hillary Clinton, and then recently with Joe Biden, garbage. So
and with the abortion one, it's like, well, we care about the women's right to choose. Well, as conservatives, as the benighted, as Thomas would say, we're not in on that vision. Of course, we care about women's right to choose stuff, but we care about liberty, freedom.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the, sir, do you still beat your wife? No. Have you stopped beating your wife? It's kind of that.
When did you stop beating your wife? Yeah, it's like, I never did, but they get you by that question, and
it paints you into a corner. It's like, yes, I care about choice, but that's not a choice you're allowed to make.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance and Joe Rogan brought this up on, I think it was the second part of their podcast episode they did just recently.
Yeah.
They talked about choice, and it made me realize, like, okay, there is actually a element of choice to it. It's like, what are you going to do with your body, with your life for the next 9 months, 8 months, whatever it is? Are you going to take care of this child? Are you going to care for this child? Or are you going to kill it and move on and be pretty wrecked yourself by it? But it is a choice, but legally there are repercussions. There should be repercussions for making the wrong choice in that situation. I'd always kind of swept aside, it's not about choice, it's about murder.
Yeah.
Well, there is choice. You have the choice to do the wrong thing, but you should be punished for it.
Absolutely. I want to go through one of the examples he mentioned in the first couple chapters, specifically. He was talking about sexual education in schools. And I know this is a huge topic. The more I learned about it, the more I absolutely despise our school system. And essentially, this was, as far as I remember, during the 60s and 70s, the anointed, with their grand vision of societal change, said, hey, there are a decent amount of teenage pregnancies, and this is an issue. And along with all the other ideas the anointed have, it sounds like an issue that could be solved, or something that should be solved, like global warming. Yeah, we don't want the earth to burn up. But I guess the devil's in the details here, where with the sexual education, what they implemented was not Christian-centered education on this. They just gave you the straight biological facts of, here's how this works, and here's how you can prevent being pregnant, which introduced many new ways for teenagers to essentially, the teenage birth rate rose by a huge amount after they implemented these policies nationwide.
It's like telling a toddler, don't get these cookies off the fridge.
But
don't push this chair up to the fridge. Put a bucket on it, stand on the bucket, grab the cookies, eat the cookies. Don't do that. Don't ever do... Oh, I hadn't even thought about pushing the chair there. Oh, man.
And it took, not only that, it took away the right of the parents to educate their children on that matter, which is probably one of the most important and fundamental things for, I guess, sexual education. And it really hurt a lot of society. Like, again, the amount of teenage pregnancies rose it didn't. It wasn't just because there were more kids. There's the percentages.
Mm-hmm. The percentage per capita.
The percentage per capita was much, much higher. I don't have the exact statistics. Probably should have wrote that down. But it's the same with. It's the exact same method when they did crime reform, punishment reform in prison. They started letting criminals out. We should try new methods, try to be more kind. You let the criminals out, they went and did more crime. And so one of the main messages and the conclusion of the book, and I'm not saying we're not done with the topic, but in the conclusion of the book is that these policies have huge effects. They ruin people's lives. People die, and our society is really messed up because of these grand visions, specifically because they're grand. And one of the things I can appreciate about Colorado legalizing marijuana, and I think maybe another drug, but I'm pretty sure it's just marijuana, is we get to see how that affects their state before we implement that nationwide, before the entire country is now like in the Constitution, you can smoke.
We know for sure
it's not good. And for the longest time, I was actually a very libertarian on that issue. Like, you know what? I may not like the smell of weed or whatever, but it's your right to do it. Who's the government? Who's to say the government is supposed to get involved? And then, I went to Oklahoma, and there was weed everywhere, and it's like, hey, maybe this society isn't safe because you couldn't go in a bathroom without a guy, in the stall messing around, and so.
I have a friend that lives up there, and he says the way they got it through is actually medical marijuana. But then all these, I guess they didn't write the law right or something, because now there's all these dispensaries, and you can just go in there and get some. I don't know if they just say, oh, I got a headache. Oh, here's medical marijuana.
That's probably how it happens. I mean, so Ron DeSantis was actually on Ben Shapiro's show, I think it was a couple days ago, and he explained this exact issue. Florida has a medical marijuana. There's about 1 million users at the moment who have like their medical marijuana card, and because that became legal, that was the first step. Now all these other companies are trying to make that legal for just anyone, like over the counter. You can just get it.
So what is Ron DeSantis thinking about this? Did this happen before he was? This happened during he was governor, wasn't it?
I don't remember. I'll be honest. But
he's been governor for like 6 years.
2018, yeah.
Yeah, so 6 years. So it should have happened under his watch.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
That's unfortunate.
Is he saying it's still?
He's
going the way of Oklahoma.
Yeah, he says it's very, very bad. That I think it's Proposition 3 would legalize marijuana, and it's not just it would be legalized for like
recreational.
Yeah, recreational.
Okay.
It's not that it would just be from our virtue standpoint of we shouldn't have decadence in our society. It's that it only legalizes certain companies with certain certifications to sell it. You can't grow your own. You have to buy it from these companies, and they are not liable if you get poisoned from their product or whatever, and it is just a bunch of bad laws. But to get back to kind of the vision of the anointed, the plan typically follows this like 3 structured this method. They say, here's a problem, and this problem is going to get so bad if we don't fix it.
Bring up the crisis.
Specifically fixing it by their plan, not by any other ideas, because those are bigoted and wrong.
Yep.
The second idea is to implement the plan and to deny any faults that are happening while it's being implemented over the next 10 years, for instance, with the sexual education issue. And then once people are, once it's a few years away long enough, we can look back and say, they said, well, yeah, the amount of teen pregnancy rose, but it would have been much, much worse if we hadn't done this.
Definitely.
And it's an indefensible position for us. It's like, well, it's very hard to prove that wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something I found very interesting in that is that the anointed found these problems that were already going down, like the crime rate, the poverty, the education, the problems they tried to fix with the sexual education, which has just become porn. It might have started out okay-ish, but with the wrong plan. But now it's show them all this stuff, and it's show them homosexual stuff, and it's messed up. They show it to really young kids.
The amount of screeching and crying when we, ban books in schools, quote unquote, which is really just banning, homosexual smut from schools. It's like, wow, you really wanted that there, didn't you? and specifically when you said these problems were already going down, they were, the society was on the rise, we were flourishing, and then they brought it up and they're like, hey, let's mash this together with our ideas. And it just,
why do you think they specifically choose the problems that are already decreasing?
Well, this isn't the exact same topic, but it is by Thomas Sowell. He said the amount, the demand for racism outweighs the supply. And there are, I'm not a, this certain group or that certain group runs the country behind closed doors and smoke-filled rooms, but maybe for some things that's true. And oh my gosh, it's no, it's just a legitimately brain dead side of the right and the left. But like with the Soros people, all these funds with BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, you can go down these very, very long black holes. And to get back to your question, why do you think they pick these issues? Because it's kind of a new idea. I'm just kind of riffing off this real quick. If we have, like, let's say the economy is going great, the left, I think it was back, early 2018, 19. I don't know where I was going with that. What I'm trying to say is if the other side is winning great at something and trying to say, oh, that's terrible, it's going bad, it's really hard to go against that. So like if the left, keeps saying Bidenomics is working, no one believes that except the people who make a ton of money or just completely disconnected from any truth or the prices they see at the grocery store.
Right. If all the information you're getting is from CNN, and so maybe you do believe that Bidenomics is working.
Yeah.
And it was so much worse 4 years ago. I don't know.
Which
I don't think many people believe that.
That would probably explain why most boomers actually plan to vote for. They voted for Biden and for Kamala because they watch cable news.
That's true. Yeah, even Fox News is.
They after 2020 they switched. They were. It was so weird. They were trying to tell us Texas was turning blue. I remember it election night, 2020. Anyway,
I went and listened to Brent Money, my state.
Great guy.
Yeah, he's going to represent us in the state.
House District 2.
And he was telling us about how Texas has only been red for the last 20, 25 years?
Roundabout. I mean,
apparently it was really blue. I have no idea. I don't know how we turned out so good. We've got some problems. We weren't constitutional carry. We had pretty stringent regulations on that. Like you can only have that is 4 inches long or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how Texas turned out so good, and I think we're only getting better because we're redder than we were, and we elected a lot of really conservative abolitionist type.
A lot of great guys.
Not the toxic kind of abolitionist, but
yeah.
Let's actually get rid of abortion.
Right.
Let's punish the people that are doing this wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
our state, state Congress, basically.
And what's unfortunate in Texas, I think it was Brent Money that said this, but because Texas is so red, especially in rural, no one can say that word, in country areas, Democrats just run as Republicans, and they run as really, really milquetoast liberal Republicans, and they all say the same thing, like, oh, we're going to build the border wall, lower taxes, and it always comes as like, okay, well, number one, you can't build the border wall. You're a state representative. That's more of a national thing. But looking at Texas voting history, we electoral college votes, yeah, they've definitely gone up recently in the last year, but...
So when was the last time it was solid blue?
Solid blue.
That's like World War II.
So the last time we went blue was for Carter in 1976, and then we had 3 straight years from the 60 to 1968. And it looks like we were probably a swing state between these years, but
Interesting. How do you think Ted Cruz is going to do?
My prediction on this race is a toss-up. I have no idea because Colin Allred is a very, very Houston guy. Huge support in Texas. He's been supported by a lot of Democrats, but Dallas, and this is, I'm sure you, I don't know, I guess I talk about this a lot, but Dallas, every election, it's like they're all the counties around it, Fort Worth, every election, they've gone red. Dallas County is the only one that hasn't gone red, and that was in 2020. And so in 2024, I have a dream. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. Dallas County is going to go red. I'm not saying it's going to, but I really hope it is because Houston is closer to San Antonio, Austin, that kind of area of Texas. It's much more liberal, and so a lot of, and I guess my what I think is that a lot of people are moving up to the East Texas. It's very nice out here. A lot of very, very conservative. Every house you go, there's a Trump sign or something like that. But as of my prediction for Colin Allred and Ted Cruz, I think Ted Cruz, my gut tells me he ekes out by probably 200,000 votes. That was about the same in 2018, Beto. What do you think?
I think he'll win. Unless, obviously, I don't want Allred.
Oh.
What I've seen of Ted Cruz until just recently, when he started really pushing for this IVF.
Oh, yeah. That's unfortunate.
He's our senator down here in Texas, one of our 2 senators. And he's just been pushing the IVF. And it's like, do you not know, like, you're anti-abortion, but you're pro-IVF? Do you not know how much abortion happens in IVF? Like,
I don't think they do. Okay, I'm hoping they don't, because IVF, there's a ton of discarded humans or embryos and babies, and it's really unfortunate. And the reason the right has taken such a liking to IVF is not just because Donald Trump, because IVF is how people, with issues, that's how they can have children. And the right is like, well, we want more children. Their interns bring it to them like, okay, yeah, I support that. I don't really think they're looking at the policies closely enough. That's another issue. You should be looking at what you support. But
feels like when I bought my first car, I was like, okay, I want a car that can hold, 7 people or so. I don't want just like a 5-seater.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to. I was 18, but I wanted to have a family within the next couple of years. So I don't want to have to just buy a new car in a couple of years when I have lots of kids. So I'll get a bigger car. Like, okay, I don't want to haul lots of stuff, so I'll get an SUV. Okay, so I went looking for cars and I found a little SUV. And this is in the right price range. It's an SUV. It's all great. I bought it. I later realized it's a small SUV that has 5 seats.
Yeah.
Get out of the name of something.
Yeah.
And forget about all of the prerequisites that I had laid out. How did that? Where did I go?
I think you were trying to say it. Yeah, IVF and
IVF is. It gets you more kids. Seems loving.
It's just science, right?
But we forget to look at, well, what is it doing? Sure, it sounds like it's a conservative thing or something we should support, but how many people die?
Do the ends justify the means? Just having more kids while murdering kids, it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't mix at all morally. And I need to look into this deeper because I don't know exactly what I believe, but there's a lot of Christians who believe that IVF isn't, it's not a sin, but it definitely isn't very good because it takes away like the natural process of creating a child. And so I'm thinking, well, the death of all these, the abortions, the through IVF, is that caused by the industry or by IVF itself? Just like, what is it called? In vitro fertilization? I think so.
So there is that thing. Some people talk about this thing called ethical IVF, where you don't freeze any babies, you don't abort any, you only fertilize as many as you're actually willing to plant. So,
on paper, that should
for one baby, you fertilize 1 egg. It's way more expensive. It has a much lower rate of success, but it gets around the baby freezing and baby killing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard from the other side that like, okay, that doesn't exist. There's something weird going on. It's still wrong. I don't know. And Michael Knowles, I think, is the one who makes that argument about that. It's even if it wasn't killing babies or freezing them, it's still
very. I don't know.
Giving science too high of a place. He's very he's actively anti-science.
I know. It's like he hates the Renaissance or something. Yeah, there was a lot of licentiousness in the Renaissance, especially in France. But that's a tough question because there are there are a lot of families that can't have kids and want to have kids, and I see these wives and husbands on Twitter X, and they say like, I want to have a child, and I see all these people posting their abortion stories, and it's like, why would you want to do that when you are crying in your heart for a loving baby from God, and you're doing everything you can, but it's not working? It's just horrible to see these stories of these misguided and evil women celebrating their child sacrifice, and it probably comes from a place of like very, very emotional. But IVF, ethical IVF, if we were going to accept that premise, it seems like a good option if you want a child. And I don't know where I stand on that. I just don't know.
Do you think those sacrifice celebrations where they're like, "Yay, this is my abortion cake"? Do you think that's almost a trying to convince themselves that this is a joyful thing, kind of a laugh so you don't cry?
Yeah,
almost.
I do. And there's the radical abolitionists will say that we just love the women much more than the babies. That's not true. But the women who get abortions, it's usually one of two things. They're super ignorant and gaslight themselves into believing it's not a baby, and they try to cover up that, like you said, they have those parties. They try to make it sound like this is a good thing. I'm doing that choice. You will enjoy. You will have the joy. You will vote for Kamala. This like forcing this attitude on yourself to do these evil things. And then there's those who like, no, it's a baby, and like, yeah, whatever, I don't care.
Right.
And either way, and that's why when people say we should jail all women in abortions. Yes, like I guess.
We should do what?
Jail or punish women who have abortions, including the doctors. And it's like, yes, but it's more of an emotional side. So I'm not saying we shouldn't, but there are a lot of women who don't understand what they're doing and are just maybe have been. I don't know. It's more of a compassion thing on my side, and I guess that is where. Sorry, you were going to head.
Well, no, that's why if we recognize it as murder, we already have degrees of murder on the books. So it's different if you run into somebody with your car, on purpose versus they
intent
down the road in black clothes and across the street and you didn't see them. If you have to get the most punishment for a offender, murder or whatever, you have to establish malicious intent.
Yeah, pre-planned.
So if you can establish as a lawyer, your client is a woman who's killed her baby, now she's being brought before the courts. If you can establish, hey, this law was made 5 days ago, she didn't know this was a baby. So I think that would be...
Yeah.
I don't remember if it's first degree or third degree, whichever, but it would be manslaughter. It would be...
Third degree would be manslaughter. First would be like murder. Like, yeah.
So it would just be prosecuted as third degree manslaughter.
Yeah. That... I think you're right on that.
So it wouldn't be the death penalty. Probably wouldn't be the death penalty anyway because our society's messed up. But it would be jail or whatever, and that would be just, and things would be. Everybody would know soon. You don't change laws on abortion, and 5 years later you still have people being like,
"Oh, I didn't know."
And even if they don't know that's a child, they know it's illegal because they have to go to a back alley.
There's that. There's no.
Or they have to go order this drug that for some reason I can't get at CVS.
Yeah, I have to buy it from Russia online.
Right, exactly. They know it was illegal, and that's enough.
Yeah. And the only issue I have with that is that there will be so many cases where they will plead, "Oh, I didn't know," that they'll get out of it, and that's unfortunate because there is supposed to be justice, and God will ultimately bring His justice on those who have killed the innocent and on any of those who aren't covered in Christ. But yeah, it's not like I think I agree largely with you there. I just see a little bit of like an issue with people and their lawyers trying to get, instead of first degree murder, "Oh, I didn't know, I was forced to do it," and trying to push the blame on someone else.
That already happens all the time. Mm-hmm. You already have to prove.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm not saying we shouldn't try to do that at all because of that issue. That's the dumbest argument ever. Well, we shouldn't do it because of one little problem. Like, what was it recently? People were like, "Well, in Texas, they were like, we shouldn't ban porn because they can get through even if they don't use their ID." And it's like, well, it would help anyway.
It'd make it a lot harder.
Oh, yeah. And so, absolutely, I think that would be a step forward. And that's why, and I don't mean to constantly rip into our radically abolitionist brothers who we do have the same end goal. Like any pro-life law or law that limits abortion is seen as bad to them because it does allow some abortions. I can understand that. But it prevents some, and any step forward is good.
And I really don't want to counter signal them, and I encourage you not to either. We have the same goal.
Absolutely.
And I want to encourage them to say things lovingly, to realize that we're not trying to break God's law by voting for Trump or something. What is it?
We're making the best with what we have.
I understood the difference between the way we understood voting. I haven't gotten this confirmed, but it's like you and I, and most Republicans, conservatives, whatever, I think, understand voting as, okay, we're supposed to choose the best option available to do the most good. And after this, I didn't have this. I don't want to misrepresent them. I think they believe, unless it's to this level, it's actually sinful to throw their support behind somebody.
I don't think those are too different, actually, because I think it's 1 Peter 2:11 through 17, it's chapter 2. God through Peter, he says that the leaders are set up by God, whether they're king or governor, to punish evil and to promote the good. And I actually gave a lesson on this at church on Wednesday. It was I was very nervous because you're giving a political lesson at church. We live in a society where almost, I believe, thankfully, democracy is limited is a good thing, and that we get to choose as a people which leaders get to punish the evil and to do good. And I guess the way a lot of some of our abolitionist brothers believe is that, that means whatever they do, you're endorsing. And to some extent, that is true. But I don't believe that, in the sense that sorry, I don't know where I was. It's yeah, I mean, we have to choose. We have to make the best decisions with what we have. Not all of us have I see a lot of Christians complaining about the choices we have for election, and it's like, well, we should work harder in the primaries then, so that we don't have, if you don't like Donald Trump and don't like Kamala Harris, find a candidate you really do like. Let's get an abolitionist person in office. I need to look into him. I've heard so much about him. I love your memes. I just
did you see that Giga Chad Chin?
I know. It's great. Absolutely great. He's for the common man. Not that you're common, but he cares about the small man. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So to bring it back to the vision of the anointed, so I asked you why you think they choose crises that are already going down.
Yeah.
I'll give you my theory on it.
Give me your theory.
I think they want to claim victory. So if something's already going down, poverty's going down, crime's going down,
it's all good, right?
If they can, like, okay, we'll implement the war on poverty. Oh, look, poverty kept going down. We are successful. Trust us on other things. Or elect me again, give me more power, whatever. Now, poverty started going down at a slower rate.
Yeah.
But that's if you look at the previous data. You're not supposed to do that.
No, not at all. Why would you do that?
He kind of saw an interesting example of one of the ways they lie to us is extrapolation of data. So if things keep going like this, the terrible things are happening in 10 years.
The threatening.
Well, that's only like the heating or the cooling or whatever. Well, that's only if that keeps going at that level. Things often don't.
And you have to remember, especially with climate data, we don't have any accurate things probably since early 1920s. They claim it's been the hottest year since 100,000 years. It's like, oh, okay, cool. When was the thermometer invented? When were we recording temperatures?
And what I love is when they're like, this is the worst hurricane or the worst drought or whatever in 80 years. Well, this was happening 80 years ago.
What happened 80 years ago? What caused it there? I saw someone,
So this is just cyclical, not...
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys.
And again, like you were saying, it goes on that tactic. This is what's going to happen in 10 years if we don't do our specific plan. So everyone's like, oh, okay, well, we don't want that to happen because that's bad. And good-naturedly, everyone's like, well, we don't want that to happen.
And the opposition brings up, well, why don't we do it this way? Because these things are going to happen, are going to go wrong.
Here are these unforeseen consequences we predict, or we don't know what this would cause. And we go through with it 10 years later, and we look back, and the teen pregnancy rate is higher, the poverty rate is higher.
STD rate among teens is higher.
It jumped.
And one of the ways they could lie is abortions became more available, so they can say, oh, teen births went down.
Births, that's the thing. That's the language there. And I guess that's not like actually switching the language. They're just changing the
It's lying with statistics.
Yeah.
It's choosing which statistics you want to focus on. One of the things they did during the Reagan and whoever was before him is they focused on individual income. Before him, like, oh, things are going great, that individual income was going up. But then in the Reagan, when they did household, maybe it was the other way around. They switched it from individual income to household income to show that the Democrat was doing great, the policies were succeeding, and Reagan was failing.
Because if it's just the individual, then it's probably less than the household, which is most likely like what, two mom and dad were both working.
Right, so the household can have two or three people, and they can actually be making less. They can be making $20,000 a year. And like, oh, household income has gone up to $60,000 a year average. 60 years ago. But before they're saying, individual income is going up, going down. It's only at 40,000.
I've never noticed that. I mean, I've never noticed that until you brought that up. The difference between those two words. So yeah, lying with statistics.
Yeah. So. One of my takeaways is like, man, I really can't trust statistics unless I'm going to go and look at it myself.
Yeah.
For the school article, I hope I didn't do any of the thing he was talking about, like statistics. I think I was able to look at it.
It's like proof texting with the Bible, finding that verse that just fits your argument and using it.
Yeah. Instead of looking at it in context of the whole Bible. Yeah, you can do a lot when you take things out of context.
Yeah.
And you don't look at the rest of it. What time we got? 3:03.
So yeah, I guess I would definitely recommend The Vision of the Anointed. It's a great book, despite, and despite it being written almost 30 years ago, this book perfectly explains everything we're experiencing nowadays. We can see the methods clearly. It's a great read. It's not very long, actually. On audiobook, get it done within a week, and it's roughly about 300 pages. In person, we'll drop a link below. And then I guess we can move on to our sponsor, which is the Skinny Tie Shop. Speaking of being a good man, we want to. The Skinny Tie Shop is a fledgling Christian company where each tie isn't just an accessory, but a reminder of the virtues we're able to practice every day. Imagine putting on your boldness tie when you have a big presentation to do, or your perseverance tie when you have an extra long day ahead. The Skinny Tie Shop, pursue excellence and look good doing it. All right.
I don't know. A shameless plug for
yeah.
my little company I'm trying to do.
I'm being honest though, they are great ties. I'm wearing them around recently. Had a lot of people say, "Hey, those look great." I was like, "Yeah, go check it out." So I guess we want to move into our second segment. Some we kind of like our election predictions for national, and then we can move into get some more banter, and then we can take some Q&A from you guys, questions in the comments, and we'll close out. So, all right, we are 3 days out now. If you count election day, we're 3 days out. The Real Clear Politics polling average is looking, essentially it's a tie, but statistically Trump has a Real Clear Politics. He has an advantage. And
I think he's going to win. I don't think we'll know the night of. Daily Wire is going to do a watch party, basically. They've done the debates and stuff. They're like, and we're going to be here until the winner is declared.
On Saturday.
Yeah. I doubt it. If 4 years ago was any indication, I think it will be a couple days. But,
yeah. Looking and as much as Real Clear Politics is super accurate because it's a grouping of all the polls, we haven't seen any outliers in the last half a month. Where a poll like a candidate's up 10 points up. In 2020, 2016, you would see huge outliers with Clinton. Biden was up by a lot, but this year, if we go back, this is from the beginning of October, so the 11th of October to November 11th. It's all the races are within 3 points. Looks like Trump is up 4 polls, and then Harris is probably up 5, but they're all within like 1, 2, and 3 points, and
it's just crazy. And I don't know. I'm not sure that I trust them, but I suspect they're playing with it a little bit. They don't want it to look like Kamala has it in the bag, so Democrats don't need to go, but they might want to. I'm kind of surprised they're not making it look like Trump has it in the bag, so we don't go. Like so that apathy can get going.
Yeah, I mean, the Shapiro was speaking with one of the polling firms that tries to do it a little bit differently than the other ones, like Harris Sachs, Allison Tell, Wall Street Journal. He believes that they are grouping the polls and kind of bumping up both sides so that seems even, so they won't seem inaccurate. Because for like all the last elections, polls been wrong. 2016, Trump was going to lose by hit Clinton at a 99% chance of winning. 2020, Biden was going to be up by 6 points. In both of those elections, Trump overperformed by about 6 points. In 2022, the red wave is coming. We're going to wipe the Democrats off the face of the national government. Didn't happen. Polls were wrong. So they're going dead even this time to kind of keep their credibility. And that's the theory. I'm not promising that's true. But yeah, I mean, look, so 3 days in history, 3 days to the election. In 2020, Biden was up 7.1 points. Hillary Clinton was up 1.5. And Trump this year is up 0.03. Sorry, 0.3. So looking really good. One of my concerns is that because we are doing so well in early voting numbers, it's going to cannibalize our day of voting because so many people are voting early. There'll be less on election day that turn out. So we'll have pretty much the same amount, but just early.
How would that be a problem?
Because there'd be less total votes. The idea is that if early voting and mail-in voting is for those who can't vote in person, And I know a lot of people who are voting in early and we're doing really good. We just don't know how many people. The specific issue with assuming that we'll have the same election day turnout as the last couple election cycles while having improved mail-in numbers and early numbers is that when people see, oh, we're doing really good in early voting, I guess it's not super important to vote.
Yes.
I'm always surprised by people who say that. It's like, I don't know.
Do it anyway. Come on,
Yeah. Especially if you're in Pennsylvania or a state that, is a swing state.
And if we're not careful, Texas.
Oh yeah, people. The county we're in, I'm not going to name it, but we have incredibly low voter turnout, especially if it's not a presidential election, which I guess that's most of America, honestly. But
we have something like 320, 350 million people in the U.S. According to 4 years ago at a presidential election, we had 160 million people come out. Now that's with
inflated numbers. There's a lot of shenanigans going on. I don't know.
So that's 160. That's most of the voting population, and that's the presidential election.
Yeah.
So how many people are coming out from the other years?
I do have. I'm very glad that most of the fraud we're seeing pop up on news sites and X is being caught by the RNC. Like there was one example, there was a voter ID that voted 29 times in Michigan. RNC caught that, and they removed it from. They were able to remove that from the tally, the total, which is good. And then we've had some recent wins with early voting. Judge allowed Bucks County to be open for 3 more days for early voting because they were closing it down at like 2 in the afternoon instead of like 5 or 7. So yeah.
You heard about that ballot box in a conservative county that was burnt out?
Yeah. What was it today? I think the governor of Washington is putting the National Guard in the cities to stop that from happening.
Interesting.
Preparing for some huge thing. So I don't know.
When I saw that, one of the things I thought was like, ballot boxes on the street?
Just what's going on? Votes?
What are they doing for? Like you have polling places. You go there, you show your ID.
I know. I like what Michael Knowles said, because all these ballot boxes, this is not what he said, but these ballot boxes, early voting, it makes it really easy for everyone to vote. Voting shouldn't be as easy as clicking a button. You should have to want to vote. You should have to get out of your house and to go. And I understand if you're like, you're in a hospital, you're bedridden, there are exceptions for that. But that's why I had a friend who's like, why can't we just have voting online? Just click a button. That's like, there's the people who want to vote are often the people who care the most, and people who don't care, who don't know about elections or politics in general, the philosophy behind them, will probably make bad decisions. I don't know. What do you think?
I can see some value in making an effort necessary for voting.
Not like you have to go through an obstacle course or voter restriction, but like you should have to want to go vote to vote.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
That's my radical position.
So radical.
So, what do you think the? Let's see here, 270 to win. What is your final prediction? And again, probably both of us are going to be wrong, but just
let's see. What is there? 540 available?
500. It's 270. Yeah.
270 to win, so they'd be just under 540.
Yeah. 538. That's it.
Let's say Trump gets. Let's say Trump gets 280.
Okay. What's looking good for Trump is the Sun Belt, Georgia and North Carolina, especially after the hurricane issue.
Yeah.
The way Arizona is looking fantastic. We can give these 3. Okay. So here we go. We got Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina going Trump. The last 3 states are the Blue Wall, the Rust Belt. Here we got Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
He's going to sweep them all. I don't know.
All right, so
probably not Michigan. Isn't that the one with Ilhan Omar.
I think so. Yeah, there's a huge Muslim population up there. If he gets Trump wins all the swing states. That's 312 votes, way more than enough to win the election. Great.
The Muslims going to vote for a woman president. Well, they voted in a woman representative. I don't know.
I mean, it depends on how super religious they are. I don't know.
That's an interesting.
I'm not very well versed in like Muslim culture because we live in East Texas, not Michigan. My prediction is he probably loses Wisconsin and Michigan. I don't have a lot of faith there. Pennsylvania, Rasmussen, which has one of the best quality polling sites, they say Trump is up at least 5 in Pennsylvania. I want to trust that a lot more. They've been hammering that state. That's where he was shot. There's been so much that happened in Pennsylvania, and I think that's just naturally, I have a gut feeling there. I think he wins Pennsylvania.
Did you see the crowds he got at Madison Square Garden?
Oh, they were huge.
You think he'll flip New York?
Oh, goodness. When Biden was running, Trump was only 6 points behind in New York. 6 points behind in New York. That was insane, and that's why they switched him out. So,
you could flip New York. Swing state.
Dude, that would be the largest upset in like the history of elections. Other than that Reagan election where he won everything except Minnesota, that would be absolutely wild because that's 28 points. Oh, let's see this. Let's see this. Let's say he loses all of these swing states. Does he still win the election if he gets New York? No, that's close.
So he still has to win.
He does need he needs to win at least like 1 or 2.
I think he will.
Yeah. At this point, nothing is a cakewalk, other than like I guess Alabama and Oklahoma.
And really, I don't doubt really at all that he will get of the legitimate votes that he will get the majority. I think he'll get kind of a sweeping majority.
Really, like of the popular vote.
Yeah, of the legitimate popular vote.
Oh, legitimate. Okay.
Yeah, but I think it all comes down to how good they are at cheating and how good we are at fighting against it. Yeah, I don't know that there's anything I can do or that you can do, but
yeah,
hopefully Trump and the RNC are more ready for it this time than they were last time.
It's harder to pull off a magic trick twice. Not just the second time, but when everyone's watching and knows your trick. So maybe they'll take it. I don't know.
What happened? Was it Virginia where they tried to take all these people off, all these non-citizens off the voting rolls? The court said, "Hey, you got to put those back on."
You got to wait till after the election before you try to fix your election stuff. And luckily, the Supreme Court. I think it was the Supreme Court. It was either the Supreme Court or the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals that said, actually, no, you can do that. You can purge your voter rolls from all these invalid.
Well, I think we should move on from that.
Yeah.
A couple more days.
I guess my final prediction is Trump will win most of this. Will win Pennsylvania, all the Sunbelt states, Arizona, Nevada, and we'll get probably to like a 280 victory. So I think we're about the same.
Okay, questions. Looks like we lost Presby, but we still got Vincent. So
yeah.
We got our special guest if he has any questions for us.
Got to go through some Q&A. You got any questions, Vincent?
Let's see. Yeah, if you do, just put in a request to speak. If not, we will keep talking. Let's see. Do we want to talk about this book again next time? Because there's just so much in it.
We could go through a part 2 after studying it a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Now, do we want to do this? How often do you want to do this? Do you want to do this every 2 weeks? Do you want to do this once a month?
I think every twice a month or at least once a month is good. We have lives to live. We got children. I'm trying to get married and all that stuff. So, it's very fun.
I'd like to try it every 2 weeks at first. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Very nice.
Provide some fun conversation, podcast listening.
Oh yeah.
For people.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really good. Let's see. This will be coming out on the conservative Substack as well as Spotify and such like, yes?
Yeah, we'll get that out probably by tonight on the RSS feed. You can check out. It's going to be cooperclements.substack.com. That's where the podcast, the audio will be posted. It'll be revised so that there's not the audio testing in the beginning, and there'll be intro and all that stuff. But
yeah, send it to me when it's ready. I'll share it on my account as well.
Sounds good. So it looks like on here we have. Is there a news story, something that stood out to you recently, this week, or?
News story.
It doesn't have to be news. Like,
not so much news. Something that's been going around in my head a lot is I'm listening to that History of Rome podcast that you recommended to me, that your mom recommended to you.
Yeah, but I'd never listened to it. Yeah.
It's very good. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Okay.
Episode something like 130.
Oh, I got to catch up then, because I'm on 0.
I'm at around 330 AD, because he's just going straight through, talking about all the emperors.
Oh, great.
Every single emperor.
Yeah.
We just passed Diocletian. Emperor Diocletian. He was the one. He took kind of a crumbling empire and pulled it back together again, and set up 3 other emperors with him to rule with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these barbarians that were coming across the border, it wasn't just one emperor trying to rush back and forth, dealing with everything. It was 4 emperors. Anyway, he did a lot of good stuff. He ruled for 20 years, which, if you at that time,
that's a pretty long time.
For 5, you were doing pretty good.
Yeah.
They just kept getting killed and murdered. Anyway, something that keeps popping up, especially the last few episodes of this podcast, is, man, the founding fathers were really smart. They knew about this. That's why they did it.
Yeah.
That's why we have a vice president.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have the separation of powers. Wow, okay. I never knew that.
Yeah. They read their Plutarch. They read their stuff.
Yeah. Rome was constantly having civil wars, especially in the 200s. Where it was just, okay, if somebody died without a successor,
yeah,
I want to take over, whatever. So they made our founding fathers made a very clear succession plan, so that there wasn't that authority vacuum, that power vacuum. That's just brilliant.
That's a good term, authority vacuum, because if there's a vacuum, something is going to fill it, and you want to make sure it's people that are represented by the nation, And
you don't want it to be 2,000 warlords.
Yeah, not very good. Not very good. And I haven't been listening to that podcast, but I do know a lot of Roman history. It's crazy to see how much of our politics on the surface level looks like Roman performance, a performance, especially with Donald Trump, because he's a performer, he's a comedian, all those things. But
scared Vincent away.
Yeah, well, it's all right.
I know he had work. So.
Yeah, he said he'd probably listen to it later. That's all fine anyway.
So, something else Diocletian did. Apparently, he was a bit of a micromanager.
Of a nation?
Imperially. So, something he did, he actually laid the groundwork. I'm not saying this is a good thing, just interesting. He laid the groundwork for the next 1,000 years of serfdom.
Ooh, talk about leaving a legacy.
Yeah. So because of the barbarians across the border weren't just coming across in a few thousand at a time anymore, where the legions could just mop them up and send them home.
20 million people coming across.
In fact, they were gathering together and going across 100,000 at a time.
Oh, okay. I was right.
I mean, Rome had 500,000 troops at that point, but they were spread out across the whole empire.
Yeah.
So they started walling in their cities.
Mm-hmm.
So now all these cities across Europe are walled in. And
like walls built around them.
Right.
Okay.
Around each city. So they had a lot more breathing space for taking care of these barbarian hordes. A lot more time to get to them before they can do too much damage.
Smart.
So that was one thing that changed at that point. That would carry off into the Middle Ages. And
he was worried about supply. Like if I don't want all the brickmakers to suddenly go off and be textile workers or something. Like he didn't want something like that to happen. Empire to collapse.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay. He carefully did it where now you can't change your profession. You're a brickmaker. You're always going to be a brickmaker. Your grandkids and great-grandkids are going to be brickmakers.
Keep it in the family, huh?
And you can't move.
Yikes.
From that city without permission. So they were becoming serfs. It's very interesting to see the origins of that.
Yeah. Goodness. Yeah.
What do you think?
I have been thinking, I guess this is a little bit less, founded in history. It's more about what would happen if Donald Trump lost the election. What are the ramifications of that? And it really, really hit me last week because I was like, man, we are 10 days away. It's actually here. This race has been happening since January 21st of 2020. It's been 4 years long of this whole mess, and it actually is coming. And a lot of what the worst outcome would be if she won the presidency, the House, and the Senate, because that leaves the Democrat Party open to do whatever they wanted. They want to stack the Supreme Court. They want to get Roe v. Wade back. They want to, legalize abortion nationwide. A bit more. What not actually scares me, but something else that is really concerning to me is the way they want to restructure the government. They want to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate so they can pass whatever they want with one extra Senate vote. They want to probably make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state so they get 4 Democrat senators instead of, because usually when it happens, if you're going to allow one state that's very, very heavy Democrat, you got to get another state that's heavy Republican so they'll be equal, because the Senate is not supposed to be representative of the people. They're supposed to represent the state. There's 2 senators for every state. They want to give themselves a permanent majority in the Senate. And this is why when people who say this important is the most important election, they're actually right. Because if they win, they are going to implement this stuff this time. And so that's been on my mind. And I was a little worried. And then, my entire lesson on Wednesday was there's only so much we can say. Just give it to God before you actually have to do things with the agency he's given you. Go and vote. But some things you do need to, just trust in God. There's only so much we can do.
He is on a throne, and he will be after this election, whoever wins.
That's true. Yeah. And an idea that I've heard recently is that, all throughout the Old Testament, even the New Testament, I think, God would punish a nation by giving them a horrible leader. He would use Babylon, an evil, evil nation, to punish Israel. And Israel was like, why would you use this evil nation to punish us? And he's like, they'll get their time. They'll get their punishment, but I'm punishing you first. And I've been thinking, was Biden a punishment for the decadence in our culture? As much as Donald Trump is a, roughly conservative president, we aren't a really religious nation.
Right.
Our nation didn't have religious revival. We're not modest. Our language has gotten much more filthier, especially on the internet. It's terrible. So I just don't know. I'm not saying that's for sure, but it's a thought. So yeah.
The idea of a Kamala presidency.
That's a tough punishment.
Yeah.
Because every time I hear her speak, it's like, oh, what if we had 8 years of that?
Somebody
8 years.
She sounds like kid in class who has to give a verbal book report,
but didn't read the book. Yeah.
So I was like,
I hope we didn't sound like that today.
No.
Yeah. But that's a good explanation.
Yeah. So it's like, I can't remember what I posted. It was like, where the red fern grows.
It's a book that really delves into the nature of humanity
and
ferns and
grow,
especially the red ones.
Just important that ferns grow and that some of them grow red.
I've definitely given a dissertation like that before. Yeah. Well, I think that you got anything else that is interesting to you?
I think that'll do it for today.
Yeah.
Come back in 2 weeks and do this again. We'll get to talk about
who won.
Yeah.
If we even know by then.
At this point, or,
whether Texas has seceded from the nation or not.
some interesting topics either way.
Yeah.
There'll be some.
That's gonna be
First days of no, because I'll be January. I was thinking, the first days of the new administration. Seeing if the things change that quickly. Like you get elected on the 6th.
Some things would change very quickly. Like the price of gas would go down probably within the week. The economy would take about a year, maybe.
I think the price of gasoline is already going down.
It has been. Like, let's be honest. It was closer to like $3.40 2 years ago. It's $2.40 here in East Texas now. It's gone down. I'm not going to.
I'm suspicious as to why.
Oh, right before an election.
He still had. Last time he was releasing, President Biden was releasing stuff out of the stockpiles. He still had less than half. He still had something like 40% to go. I wonder if he's dipping into that now.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not reporting information on that.
I think he did. I think he did let some pipelines or new drilling or something happen. So that may be what's going on.
We struck a bunch of deals with Venezuela for oil. Maybe that's why.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Let's actually end it.
Sounds good. Anyone who's listening, appreciate you. Stick along for the ride. Thanks for listening to our first episode of The Right Perspective. We'll be back in about 2 weeks. Make sure to check out the Skinny Tie Shop, amazing ties. Get your boldness, perseverance tie today. And then we'll also drop a link below for the Vision of the Anointed book. Check it out. Amazing book. Hope you have a great day.
Talk to you in a couple weeks.